Okay, all right, let's get started. Now, this is basically the 11th chapter of the syllabus, and it is going to be about ratios, proportions, and rate. Okay, it's interesting, it's very important, and most of the times the question would be coming in P1, okay, from this chapter. Okay, let me write down the heading and everything, and then we are going to discuss this in detail. Okay, it is basically chapter number 11. In total we have 42 chapters. We have discussed that thing already, and this is ratio, rate, and proportion. Okay, this is the title of the chapter, and trust me, you guys already know all the contents of this chapter. It's just this, we have some different names for everything. So but once we start discussing this, you guys would get a good understanding about it. Okay, let's talk about ratio. Okay, if I say the ratio of A to B in English, if I say the ratio of A to B, how do I write this thing mathematically? Okay, in English, if I say the ratio of A to B, mathematically, I can write it as A ratio B, or I can write it as A divided by B, or I can write it as A divided by B. Okay, so far we have only discussed ratio. If we say the ratio of A to B, mathematically, this is the symbol for ratio. Just like we have discussed sets, we know this is union, we know this is intersection, we know this used to be the universal set. This was the symbol for belongs to. So just like that, these two dots are basically for ratio. Okay, so by now you just know how to represent ratio. And you know, if the examiner is saying find the ratio between this and this number, you know it's basically related to fractions. Okay, all right. This is what you know. Let me write down a question and then you would understand it very well. Example number 1. Okay. Example number 1 says, in a stationery shop, the cost of pen is $1.5. So one pen is for $1.5 and the cost of a pencil is 90 cents. So pencil is for 90 cents. The question says, express the ratio of their prices in the, one second please, in the simplest form. Okay. This is basically the question. Yes, very good, Umayza. You are right. Okay. I'm really sorry about this. I'll announce this thing at the end of the class. Again and again, I need to, shift, and I'm pretty sure all of you, it's certainly a disturbance, but I'm sorry about it. Okay. Acha, those who have just joined, we are talking about the 11th chapter of the syllabus that says ratio, rate, and proportion. These terms are new, but the idea behind these terms is what you guys already know. Okay. Ratio has this symbol. These two dots are used to represent ratio. Okay. And if in English I say the ratio of A to B, mathematically I can write it this way, A ratio B. I can write it this way, A divided by B, or I can write it this way as a fraction. So ratio is just division. That is it. Okay. Now we have an example to understand the idea. The question says, one pen is for $1.5, pencil is for 90 cents. Express the ratio of their prices in the simplest form. Okay. Now here they did not say ratio of pen to pencil or pencil to pen. No, they did not mention it this way. They just said ratio of their prices. So technically it can be pen ratio pencil, it can be pencil ratio pen. That's completely fine. Okay. So let's do it this way. Ratio of their prices. So I'll do it this way. It's pen ratio pencil. Okay. The price of pen is $1.50 and the price of pencil is 90 cents. Now I can certainly just simplify it this way, but the issue is that this thing is in dollars and this thing is in cents, and we need to make sure that the unit must be same. Okay. So let's convert it over here. $1.50 is basically equal to 150 cents. Okay. For converting from dollar to cents, we multiply that figure by 100. All right. Okay. So this would become 150 ratio 90, and this is not the answer because the examiner said in the simplest form. So simplest form means that we need to simplify it as much as we can. I can write it this way. It's 150 divided by 90. 0 and 0 can be cancelled. 3 multiplied by 3 is 9 and 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. So the final answer is going to be 5 ratio 3. Okay. So ratio is just division sign, but it has a different notation. If the examiner says express the ratio, you need to have the ratio sign here of their prices in the simplest form. The price of one pen was $1.50. For the pencil, it was 90 cents. I was just supposed to convert $1.50 to cents. And after doing that, I got 150 ratio 90. Ratio is nothing but division sign or this sign. And I just simplified the numerator and denominator. And finally, I got this as the answer. So this is basically the idea behind ratios. Yes, anything that's coming to your mind, please ask me any question, any query, because this is the first time that we have started, talking about ratios, and this is important. So if you have anything, you can ask me.
Ma'am, so ratio sign is basically division.
Yes, you
Okay,
can.
okay.
Ratio has a different sign, but it is basically the division sign, right? For example, if I'm
Okay,
writing
ma'am.
down 2 divided by 3, I can also write it as 2 ratio 3. But since ratio is, we are not that much familiar with ratio, so think about it as division. It's basically division. The way division works, ratio would also work in the same way. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay. So this was very simple concept, and this would get even better. Let's talk about the next important thing that we need to discuss over here. And that is map scales. Now we know, for example, all of you are familiar with, let's say, if you are interested in buying a house or a room, let's say, on rent. So we just have a small version of that house or room. And if the actual house is 100 times bigger than that, we can get some rough idea from that scaled map, right? It's basically the small version of that big house, and we just, get to see where's the bedroom, then where's the kitchen and stuff like that. So this is the next thing, and it is called map scales. Okay, this
Ma'am,
map
I had a
scales.
question, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the ratio that you showed earlier, ma'am, what does
Hmm.
it tell us, ma'am?
It
What does
is
it tell
okay.
us?
I'll tell you. Since it is this is certainly telling us something, but this obviously was just writing it down initially. If it says 5 ratio 3, it basically means that for 5 units of this thing, one second, let me write it down over here.
Means for 5 units of pens, we could get three pencils.
No, no, no. This certainly does not mean that. This is 1 second only.
Ma'am, I cannot hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I got mute. Okay. All right. So we were basically discussing the idea behind this thing. It's 5:3. It does not mean that for 5 units of pen, you can buy 3 units of pencil. It's other way around. Okay. It's basically about the price, that this price is more and this price is less. It's basically about the price. It's not about the units of pencil, right? It's about their price ratio. It's their price ratio. For example, if I talk about phones, if I talk about iPhone 13, if I talk about Samsung S21, I would obviously know that the price ratio, in the price ratio, the price for iPhone 13 would certainly be more. So it's basically telling me an idea about this, right? It's not about the units. It's about their prices. Okay,
Yes,
certainly
ma'am.
pen is expensive, pencil is cheaper than pen. So this cannot be the case that for 5 units of pen, I can buy 3 units of pencil, but it's about their price distribution. You can think about it this way. It's about their price distribution. And later on, we will be using these simplified ratios for finding out other things. Okay, so that is where exactly it is used. Yes, are you getting this thing now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, but it was certainly a very good question. And yes, okay, and I hope that you got something about it, but obviously map scales has also to do with ratios, and then you would understand that what exactly that thing means. Okay, this time around it was for prices, so technically we don't understand things that way. But let me just explain the second topic. Here we are also dealing with ratios, and that is something that we'll be using in our real life as well, so this would make more sense. Okay. All right, let's talk about map scales. Okay. All right, so let me write down a map scale. If the scale of map is 1:R, it means 1 centimeter on map
Ma'am, in the first line, what is after 1 ratio?
it's R. It's R.
Okay, okay.
Yes, if the scale of map is 1:R, it means 1 centimeter on map represents R centimeters on actual piece of land. Okay, so these architects are basically, they make a rough structure of how the house would look like the rough design, but obviously the dimensions of that drawing that they make on piece of paper is not how it actually would be, right? So this is the idea over there. It's basically 1:R. 1:R means if on map that thing is 1 centimeter long, actually that thing would be R centimeters long. For example, let's talk about something. Let's talk about dimensions of a room, let's say, of a small room. And this time around, the scale of map is 1:2000, and it's in centimeters. Okay, so this would mean that 1 centimeter on the map basically mean 2000 centimeters on actual land. Okay, so if I have a room, let's say I have a room, okay, and it's a big room, But if I talk about its structure on the piece of paper or on map, it would basically be, let's say it's 1 and it's 2. So actually it's not possible that the room is for, its length is 1 centimeter and the width is 2 centimeter. No, it's just what I have on map. But actually the dimensions would be 2000 centimeters. Like this thing would actually be 2000 and this thing actually would be 4000, right? Let me just admit one student and then I'll explain this again. Okay, all right, okay. So here basically we are studying an application of map scales. All you need to understand is that this is a way to represent a scale. What is a scale? A scale is just telling you what it is on paper or what it is on map and what it actually is. For example, it's 1 centimeter on the map, but actually it is 2000 centimeters, and I cannot make a line of 2000 centimeters on the paper. Okay, to understand it, I will just make a line of 1 centimeters, but that actually would represent 2000 centimeters on the actual thing. Okay, so this part is not important. Whatever was important is already written. Through an example, things would get better. Okay, 1 second, let me talk about an example and then you guys would get a good understanding of it. Okay, so this is example number 2, and again it's coming from ratios. In the map of a town, 10 kilometers is represented by 5 centimeters. Okay. Part A says, what is the actual distance if it is represented by a line of 2 centimeters on map. Okay, let's discuss this thing. In the map of a town, 10 kilometers is represented by 5 centimeters. Okay, so actually if something is 10 kilometers long, on the map you'll see a line of 5 centimeters only. So let's just make the ratio first. Okay, what did this ratio imply? If the scale of a map is 1:r, it means 1 centimeter on map represents r centimeter on actual piece of land. Now this is just a formula for making the ratio. Using or considering our scenario in the example, we can write it this way. It's 5 centimeters on the map and it's 10 kilometers on the in actual, right? So it's 5 centimeter ratio 10 kilometer. Okay, what is the actual distance if it is represented by a line of 2 centimeters on the map? Okay, now I'll tell you how exactly we solve such questions. Okay, for the first one, you were only supposed to simplify that. Let's just
Ma'am,
write
is the
it down.
answer 4?
Yes, very good. Your answer is correct. Very good. Okay, excellent. Okay, but let's just try understanding this. This dimension is basically on the map, so I can write it down here. It's 2 centimeters and I need to find the actual distance. So I'll make a question mark here. And now it's very easy. You're just supposed to cross multiply at this point. Instead of this question mark, I can just write down an unknown variable. Let's say it's x, because I'm not sure about it. X kilometers. And in order to do this, I'm going to cross multiply 5 in x and 10 in 2. So this would become 5x equals 2 multiplied by 10, that is 20. And x is going to be 4 kilometers. This was your answer. So this is how we deal with ratios, okay? A ratio could be given for any scenario. This map scales is just a scenario. It could be that you guys are not even able to relate to the concept, but still you would be able to simplify that, okay? All right, so let's discuss example 2 again. In the map of a town, 10 kilometers is represented by 5 centimeters. So step 1 is to make the standard ratio by using the piece of information given in the question. So 5 centimeters ratio 10 kilometers. This is my standard ratio that I will use to
Ma'am,
solve questions. Yes.
Yes.
ma'am, what if we wrote 10 on the 5 side and
Yes.
5 on the 10 side?
That's absolutely fine. Let's try it one second.
Okay.
Please keep your question on hold, the other student. Let me just answer this one. Let's say I write it down this way. So 10 kilometers ratio 5 centimeters. So what I'll do is, the question was I had to find the actual distance. Here is the actual distance. So then I would write down x kilometers here, and then on map it was 2. So I'll write down 2 centimeters here. Okay, this is basically the actual, and this is for map. This is what you need to make sure. And again, when you will cross multiply, you would get 4. So the idea is to just write down actual under actual and the map figures under map figures. Otherwise, left right does not matter. That would not obviously that would not matter,
Okay,
right?
ma'am. Okay.
Yes. And the other student, please ask your question now.
No questions.
No, there was a question from some other student. Please ask me. Okay, all right, it's okay. Acha. Anyway, so maybe this was your question as well. You can certainly write it down as 10-5 as well. That does not matter. Step 1. Now, what is the first step? Step 1 was to write down the standard ratio using the piece of information, and then see what the examiner wants you to find. You had to find the actual distance. So under actual, I'll write down x, and the map figure was 2 centimeters, and this is going to be the answer. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, got it.
All right. Okay. Very good. The next part says, part B says, express the map scale in the ratio 1:n. Okay. Now what they want is, they want you to write down the same scale, but this way. What was our scale? Our scale was 5 centimeters to 10 kilometers. Okay. Our scale was 5 centimeters ratio 10 kilometers, but they want you to write it down this way. And how can we do that? By simply just cancelling out 5 and 10. But I cannot cancel out 5 and 10 directly when I can see that my units are different. Okay. Otherwise, if units are different, that does not matter. You can see without changing the units, I was able to do the first part of the question. But if I talk about the first question, there I was supposed to find out the ratio in the simplest form. So for that, I made sure that the units are same, right? As long as you have been asked to find the ratio, yes, units would matter. But for the second question, you were not asked to find out the ratio. Some part of the ratio was missing and you had to find that. But the second part of this question says, express the map scale in this ratio. So for that, how do we do it? Step 1 is to make the units same. Now I know 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters. So 10 kilometers would be equal to 10,000 meters. Okay. And 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So 10,000 meters would be equal to 1 million centimeters basically. This is what I am going to have for this one, right? Any confusions with this? I'll explain this again, it's important. 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters, okay? So if 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters, then 10 kilometers would be equal to 10,000 meters. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So 10,000 meters would be equal to 10,000 multiplied by 100, and that would give you 6 zeros. And this is basically 10 lakhs, that is 1 million centimeters. Any confusions with this? Ask me right now.
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So I can write it this way. It's 5
Isn't it 1 million centimeters?
Yes, you can write, you can think of it as 1 million centimeters. You're right.
Teacher,
Okay. So I'll write it down here. And now in order to have 1 here, now I can cancel it out. So what do I know? I know that it's 1 times and it's 2 times. So 1 centimeter is equal to 2, sorry, not equal to, ratio, my bad. 2 lakh.
Ma'am,
Yes.
10 in the 10 million, you
Hmm.
forgot the third zero in the second set.
No. Over here?
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
basically, I'll tell you, 1 lakh is with 5 zeros, right? This is 1 lakh. And then 10
Okay.
lakhs is 1 million. So when I'll multiply this 10, this would be 1 million. We have 6 zeros in 1 million. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. And then 10 would be cancelled by 5. And this is what I am going to get. And now this is what the examiner wanted, 1:n. Any confusions with this? Anything that you were not able to understand?
Ma'am, why did we choose 1 million?
Because the question was express the map scale in this ratio. Okay, so first of all you need to see what it actually was. This is what it actually was, 5 centimeters to 10 kilometers. In order to cancel this 5 with this 10, I need to make sure that my units must be same. So 10 kilometers is basically 1 million centimeters. I did not write it down by my choice. I just converted 10 kilometers to centimeters and I got 1 million centimeters. Okay. Yes. Is it okay?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, all right. Now the third part is a bit technical, but obviously that's important. So let's talk about it. And initially, you guys would not get very comfortable with this, but you know my pattern. I do so many questions again and again that things would get better automatically. Okay. The third part is find the area of a plot that is represented by 10 centimeter square. Okay. This is what we need to understand. Okay. Find the area of a plot that is represented by 10 centimeter square. Let's answer this. Again, this question is about ratios. So map ratio actual. Okay. Now I can write this as, or let's go with the standard one, 5 centimeter ratio 10 kilometers. 5 centimeters ratio 10 kilometers. Okay. All right. The third part says Find the area of a plot that is represented by 10 centimeters square on the map. This thing is on the map. So do you guys think I can write down 10 centimeters square here and write down X, and then can I cross multiply? I can certainly not do it for this one. Why? Because this scale was for lengths. This scale was for lengths, but this time around we are talking about the area. For area, we have different units. This standard scale, I made this scale using whatever I had in the question for finding out the actual distances or lengths. But this time around, I've been asked to find out the area. For area, I need to first make another standard ratio, and then I can write this and simplify it, right? So I'll tell you how do we do that. I'll tell you. It's very, very simple. Okay. You guys get the issue? The issue is that this is my scale right now,
Yeah.
but it's in centimeters, and okay, it's for lengths. We need to do it for area. So I need to have centimeter square and kilometer square. So what we do is we are just supposed to square both sides of this thing. Okay, you're just supposed to square both sides, and this is your area standard scale. Okay, the scale initially was for lengths. The unit was centimeter. I want the unit to be centimeter square. So for that, I'll just square both sides of the ratio, and now it would become 25 centimeter square ratio 100 kilometer square, and now it's perfectly fine. This is for map area, and this is for actual area.
Actual area.
Very good. However, this one, when I did not have a 2, was basically for map length, and this was for actual length. So this is basically the thing. So first we had to make the scale, and now we are good to go. Okay, so we have it on the map. It's 10 centimeters square, and we need to find out the actual area. That would be X kilometer square, and I am just supposed to cross multiply. So 25 would be multiplied by X, and 10 would be multiplied by 100. So 25X equals 100 multiplied by 10. So this way I would get 1000 divided by 25, and you need to do it without calculator because obviously this would come in paper 1. Okay, I'm telling you guys again and again, these type of questions would most of the times they would come in paper 1, and yes, certainly they can come in paper 2 as well. Anyways, we need to cancel that, and this would give you, it's 1 times and it's 4 times.
And
25.
40.
Yes, very good. 40. Excellent. Very good. Well done. So it would be 40 kilometer squared. Okay. Now, some of you are those who, have studied some of the basic concepts at school, and you guys already had some idea about it. But I know there are some students who are studying from me for the first time. That is why I try going in detail, but I'm still not sure if the students I'm mentioning were able to understand this or not. So if you have anything, you can just type. I'll just read your message and I can explain that again. Are we good with this idea?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
No?
Yes, ma'am.
Someone said
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
Okay, all right. Okay, perfect. Very good. Okay. Acha, what's the time? Okay, we still have time. Let's talk about one more question because things would get better. You would get a better grip on this topic, and then that is it. All right. It is example number 2. A length of 8 centimeters on
Ma'am, this
map.
is the third example.
Yes, sorry. Okay, a length of 8 centimeters on map represents an actual distance of 2 kilometers. Okay, so you need to find part A, the actual distance represented by 25.6 centimeters on map. Okay, let's do this first part. Okay, first of all, we need to make the standard ratio. It's about actual distance. Whatever we have in the question looks like we would be able to make the ratio directly. A length of 8 centimeters on map represents an actual distance of 2 kilometers. So map ratio actual, and on map it is 8 centimeters and actually it is 2 kilometers. Okay, so I can write it down this way. I'll write down the, and again the units are centimeters and kilometers. This certainly is distance, so it's perfectly fine. So map ratio actual, it's 8 centimeters, ratio 2 kilometers. You need to find out the actual distance represented by 25.6 centimeters on map. This is map. I'll write down 25.6 over here, and actually it is x kilometers, and all I need to do is just cross multiply after this step. So it would give me 8x equals 25.6 multiplied by 2. You can do the multiplication, and x is going to be 25.6 multiplied by 2. This is 51.2 divided by 8, and that's 6.4 kilometers. Okay, it's 6.4 kilometers, and certainly this was supposed to be in kilometers because here they're talking about the actual distance. Okay, yes, anything?
No, ma'am, understood.
Yes, all
Okay.
clear.
I understood.
All right, okay, perfect. Then one last part is for you guys. Please do it quickly, and then that is it. It says the area on map in centimeter square, which represents 2.4 kilometers square of an actual area. So you need to find the area on map, and the actual one is 2.4 kilometer squared, right? So let me just zoom out just so you guys can see everything. Yes, here it is. Please do it. Take 2 minutes, then type your answers.
Ma'am, are we going to use 8 and 2 in this?
Yes, you will use 8 and 2 to find another standard scale, and then you would be able to do that. Yes, anyone who was able to do this, please send me on this account. I have logged in through 2 accounts. Send it to me on this one.
Ma'am, host wala account?
No, the other one. जिसे मैं बोल रही हूँ basically. Acha, एक second. Very good, Hassan Sahal. Your answer is correct. Nosharwan, well done. I'll tell you. Kabir, basically, you need to give the answer in centimeters because it is they're talking about the area on map. Okay. Acha,
Okay,
anyways,
okay.
very good, all of you. Those who have tried. Acha, let me explain this again, and then things would get better. Second part says the area on map. Okay, students. This was about the area. And the first one was about the distance. So distance was easy because the information given in the beginning was about distance as well. We were able to generate a standard ratio and do everything easily. But this is for area and the units for area are centimeter square. So what I will do is I'll just write down the length scale. That was 8 centimeters ratio 2 kilometers, and for area I am going to square that, and this would give me 64 centimeter square ratio 4 kilometer square, and it's 2.4 kilometer square ratio x centimeter square. So everything is done. I'm just supposed to cross multiply at this point, and this would give me 64 multiplied by 2.4 equals 4x. And when I will divide the other side by 4, this would give me 64 multiplied by 2.4 divided by 4 equals x. And then it's 1 times and it is 16 times. And then just do 16 multiplied by 2.4 without calculator because that would not be allowed. So this would give you x equals 38.4 centimeter square. Okay, this is going to be the answer. Again, on map, it would be the smaller unit and actually it would be the larger unit, right? Okay, so that is it for today. I hope you guys were able to understand 50% of the contents, because those who are old would obviously, you guys would be clear about the idea, but those who have just started the syllabus and everything, I'm pretty sure things would be a bit complicated, but it would get better once we talk about more questions. Okay, right. So that is it. I'll stop the recording.